Boom. Good morning slash day slash evening slash space time to everybody. Let's see if we are up and running. Yep, okay. I can see music, I can see voices, I can see a screen. All right, looks like we are active. So good morning to everyone hanging out in chat. Okay, it is Friday, March 24th, 2017. I am extremely sick, but the stream must go on. We're going to jump right in, do some stuff, and then jump right out. Like normal, if anyone has any questions or anything I might be able to help them with, feel free to ask. We'll see what we can do to help out. If not, we'll be working on our current project. Our current project right now is trying to recreate kind of like a small little networked game. Think of it as a slice of a multiplayer online game, like the starting area in World of Warcraft or EverQuest or something like that. Just a small little area with all the basic components in place. Yesterday, I worked on trying to get the dedicated server compiling and working properly remotely. Failed miserably because once I eventually got everything compiled and running properly, I found out that in order to cook things properly, I needed a proper video card in my virtual machine, and it didn't have one. So that failed. However, I was able to get it building locally. I'll just have to deploy it remotely. And for actual testing purposes, we'll just deploy it remotely in the future. But for now, I can make it work locally. And I was about to show it, except for the fact you need a stupid log on the shortcut or else you can't actually see it, which is silly, but that's the way it works. So if we do this, we run this back to one player, we hit play, and then we find where our server went to. It's right here. Here, let's try to move some things out of the way. In theory, when I hit the Y button there, you saw some stuff down here, and it's actually connecting from our project into the server. So I've managed to get a dedicated server compiled and running, and I've managed to get our client set up to connect to it running properly. And you can even get server commands running properly. Like it'll repopulate the server right there. Boop, just like that. Did a server map job. So let's go and clear this. We have some error messages, but that is completely expected. In terms of what I did since Wednesday, for anyone is paying attention and playing along, our monster spawner, we had a small issue. So let me show you what I did and show you why. So when we set this up with, for example, a dedicated server with a couple people playing, we'll hit play. And, whoops, come on, give me one of my players. There we go. And then we switch over to our game server. Well, we run into some issues. First of all, we can't really transfer or server transfer properly inside the plane editor. That was one thing I found out. So we'd have to run standalone. So ignoring the standalone part, if we run this and then we server transfer over to our server, we still run into another issue. Whoops, come on. Where we were having multiple monsters spawning in. And the reason for that is we were spawning our spawner in both the client and the server version. Because you got to keep in mind, we're basically recreating everything unless we say otherwise on every single client, and that includes the server. So when this ran our monster spawner, we were basically getting a set of monsters for the server and then a set of monsters for each client. So I just changed it so Switch has authority now, so it only runs on the server, and we should be good. That was just the only real change I did. Could you make a sitting down blueprint tutorial? What do we mean by sitting down blueprint tutorial? If we're talking about maybe animating a character sitting down, unfortunately I cannot. I don't have any animations that cover that, and I'm not very good at animations themselves. It doesn't seem like it would be too difficult though, as long as you had a animation. You would basically just move the player to that location and then start the animation for the sit. But unfortunately I don't have any of those things. I don't have the ability to make the animation, and I don't have any sitting animations I could even use. But in practice it seems fairly simple. Like Kian is bringing up, sitting down would just work on a blueprint interface and apply animations. That's pretty much it. You would click on the object itself. If it can be sat down upon, you would move the character to that location and then apply the sit animation. Let's look at our document so far. And what we worked on Wednesday was getting our monster spawn pointed. One of the decisions I made that I've been struggling with for this project was how to do graphically what we were going to aim for. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible, but because I'm going to go ahead and drop this under a Epic GitHub required login, I can use content. I can redistribute the content that Epic gives to us. So I pretty much made the decision earlier today. I'm going to go ahead and start cherry picking stuff from the Infinity Blade assets that Epic has given out for free, so we can have some actual monsters and player characters and some stuff like that. I don't know if I'm going to use the levels from them because they are kind of rough and a pain in the butt to put together. I might just go with like a generic landscape and maybe build some stuff out of that. I don't know for sure. But we are definitely going to steal the characters. Not steal. We're going to use the characters and some of the models, like the monsters, for our test purposes. So in regards to that, I'm going to do that in the off time. I'm basically going to start importing some animations and do that like over the weekend, so it doesn't take any part of our system work. So hopefully come Monday we'll actually have some non-mannequins to work with. So what do we need to work on? We kind of put in our monster spawn point system. We don't have any sort of interactions with anything, no fighting, no stats, no classes. We should probably start setting up our player. So make our base player character, so then we can start having our numbers for our players, so that way they can actually be hooked into later, is what I'm thinking. So yeah, let's see about doing that. Let's see if we can do that. So we have our monsters. So let's go ahead and make a new folder, and we're gonna call this one players. Seriously, I typed in players and it didn't work. There we go. That was weird. And we're just going to steal the third person character blueprint right now. Copy it here so that we can get rid of this in the future. I also know that we don't have a folder for systems. Since we're actually going to have to start setting stuff up, we're going to make sure we get our system in place. In terms of that, I mean, we're going to need a game mode. I know that for a fact. We're probably going to need a game instance. We're probably going to need some player controllers and stuff like that. So we're going to go with the game mode for sure. So we can start setting that up. Okay, so this is going to be our MMO player controller. This will be our MMO character. Good. Go to our systems, set up our game mode to use those systems. We'll just close it and reopen it. So we get this, a lot easier. We're going to have an MMO player controller. We're going to have a MMO character. That's going to be our default pawn. And other than that, we should be good. No, we're going to need a custom HUD class, because the HUD class is going to control the local player's UI like we learned in our networking stuff. So let's find a new HUD. So HUD, and we'll make a new HUD, and this will be our MMO HUD. And we'll go ahead and go back to here, set that up. So there we go. So now there's our basics. Let's go ahead and set up our project to use our new game mode. So this is going to be an MMO game mode. Make sure this is all good. MMO character, HUD, and controller. Global default server game mode, MMO game mode. Enter startup map. These are all good. Good. We don't have seamless travel set up. We're not going to worry about that. Let me just set up an MMO game instance just in case we end up using it in the future. Just so I don't have to worry about setting that up later. It can't hurt. At least it's here if we need it in the future, and I don't have to worry about, oh, why doesn't it work? Oh, I forgot to set it up. There we go. Yeah, Mohammed, I would love to be able to help you with this one, but unfortunately it does require animations, and I don't have experience with animations. Maybe there's, you know, UE4 sit animation. Let's see what the interwebs say. And unfortunately, Answer Hub has been really slow lately, which is kind of a bummer. Maybe we can at least give you somewhere to start. Yeah, so like for example, googling UE4 sit animation, if you spelled it properly, the first Answer Hub gave a breakdown of what we said. What you're going to look for though is things like the skeletal mesh animation system, and then the animation system itself in the Unreal Engine documents. That's what you're going to need to learn. That's where you're going to have to start. If you go to that Answer Hub post that I mentioned, let me wait for it to load up. I'm going to wait for it to load up. Answer Hub's been really slow lately. You'll find a basic rundown right here. So like we were talking about, you make a chair that you'll know when the player's near it. Use an animation blueprint to set a variable for start sitting. The animation blueprint, once it knows it can sit, will start the sitting animation. And then you basically sit the whole time. And then if you get out of the chair, it plays the standing animation. That's your basics. But this is all requiring animation blueprints, which I don't have enough experience with. And I'm sorry about that. Nerd Rock. Thanks for all the videos. They've been a great help. I'm glad. Hopefully they are a help. That is the point of it. That's why I do everything, to keep myself entertained and hopefully give other people some help. So our question here for the player itself so the goal on this one is we were going to go with 3 different classes. We were going to make a class-based system just to give us a little bit of a challenge. So we're going to have a skill system in place somewhere, and then we'll basically define what can use the skills. So I guess this should be our, I don't know why I put player controllers. This should probably be our base class for our character, I'm thinking. And then we'll make children for each of the other ones. I'm thinking maybe we'll do that just in case. I don't know why. But let's go ahead and define some variables then inside of our character. Yeah, no, see, here's the okay, so crap. Okay, I'll let you know what the crap attack I'm having when I check out this question. Working on a desk system for my game. The best node that worked out for me was the teleport node, but this is the best node I should be using. Your death system should be whatever you feel like doing. Honestly, that's funny because that's kind of what I was just running into an issue with right here. So let me explain the problem I'm having and we'll see if maybe it can help. So the character itself is a pawn that's basically controlled or possessed by the controller. Now your controller is basically a representation of the person behind the screen. So every player connected is going to have a controller, and that controller is going to persist. However, the character doesn't necessarily persist. the character can be destroyed, and there will be times when your controller can have no character. So this is an instance of what Alex brought up. He was having an issue with possessing and things like that, where he just basically, when the player dies, he teleports them or moves them somewhere else, and he doesn't destroy the character. And that's a perfectly fine action. So that's where I'm kind of at this turning point, crossroads right now in regards to what to do. Do we store the stats for the player? So we know that by definition, our player is going to have things such as strength, stamina, intelligence, mana, health, and armor. It's going to have these numbers. Some of these things will be natural because we're going to need like a base health and a base mana, or else our player's pretty much going to be dead. Some of them will not be natural. Strength, stamina, intelligence, for example, may come from armor only. And then armor itself may become from armor only. Now, do we store these values on the player character itself? Keeping in mind that we could possibly destroy that character at some point in time. Or do we keep them on the controller? Or do we keep them on the character and then don't destroy the character? We just simply teleport or move them as needed. We basically have a few different options. Kean's bringing up a good point. Unpossessed on death, then possessed on respawn would be best, as you can maybe leave a body on the floor. So that's something to consider in mind as well. Because if, for example, the player dies and we want them to retrieve their corpse, then we would have to have either a simulated corpse in the world, or we'd have to have stuff like that. I'm going to go with the really simple version of this one. I'm going to treat this as if there are no corpses. We're not going to worry about storing the values on the player controller itself. We're going to store them on the character itself. I'm going to make things as simple as possible for this example. Obviously, this is why I brought up, it's going to matter based on what you want. Fighting is asking, does it ragdoll at death? Ragdolling is basically up to you as the programmer. What happens during your quote-unquote death is completely up to you as the programmer. You could have them evaporate and respawn somewhere else. You could have the player, the model, the mesh, ragdoll, for example. You could have it just simply play a death animation. There's a lot of things you can do. Yeah, Alex, and like you said, Alex, the way you are approaching is perfectly fine. Teleporting them, not destroying them, is a perfectly valid way of handling it. There's not really an issue with that. Possessing and unpossessing can be tricky, especially if you store anything on the character itself. So that's something to keep in mind. It sounds like teleporting works for you, and it sounds like that would be perfectly fine for what you want to do. Let's define some... Whoops, I did not mean to call that base stats. I meant to make a category called base stats and put my stats in it. So we are going to see about setting stuff up. So let's see what would be a smart way of approaching this. Strength, stamina, and intelligence. So what I'm thinking is I'm thinking of keeping two sets of variables, is what I'm thinking of doing. I'm thinking of keeping strength, stamina, intelligence, because these let's give them health, man. Let's give them base stats for everything. Okay, so let's health. These are going to be stats that never change. These are basically going to be kind of like your minimum values. We'll never let the player go below these. This way we can keep these as references. These are basically, think of them as read-only variables we're never going to change. And then we'll have a modified set of stats that we can use for calculations. And the modified will be added from armor, things like that. So let's do that. We can't duplicate multiples, can we? No. Okay, so we're going to call this one mod strength, and we're going to call all these mod is what we're going to do. Don't know if this is the best. Whoops, that would be deleted. But that's what we're figuring out. We basically need to design a system around what our goal is. And that's what we're doing now. There we go. And then, of course, it's not going to let me. Okay, not going to let me. I can't. I really wish I could move multiple things into one category at the same time. That would be helpful. Okay. So we'll go with that. We're gonna go with something like this. I'm gonna nuke the VR stuff that's in here because we're not gonna use VR. Just to clean up the code a little bit was all. And I'm gonna go ahead and nuke my touch input. I want to try to get this as clean as possible. I'm gonna nuke gamepad input as well. You know what? I'm just gonna keep this mouse input as clean as possible. Yeah, there we go. Because we want to try to make this clean. Pretend we're doing this for real, because technically we are. Okay, so we have our stats, and these are going to be our base stats. I'm going to define some base values. We're going to start off with something really simple. I've been playing a lot of EverQuest lately, so I'm going to try to make stats kind of important in terms of their power. If that makes any sense. So this is one of those things where you have to play in order to get things right. So let's make a custom event. I don't know how much I'm going to be using this, but we're going to do this anyways. But calculate mod stats. And all this is going to do is it's going to, whenever we call this, it's going to update the mod stats with the correct values. And we're going to make a function called calculate mod stats. Calculate's probably not the right one. Let's go with update mod stats, because that's technically what it's going to do. And I can delete the friggin' this thing, because we're going in a function so we can keep things temporary. Here we go. So update mod stats. And what this is going to do is basically go through each of our stats, find anything that can affect those stats, and then set the new value in here. So for now, all we're going to do is set them to their base values. That's all we're going to do for now. And I know, let's see, yep, that's the getter. I always forget which one's the getter and the setter. Oh, okay, it's this, it's the alt button. There we go. So we use the alt button to drag all these out, and then we'll use the control button to drag all these out. And technically I could be doing this. And I'm going to run this through a sequence just to clean it up a little bit, so we can maybe give ourselves a little bit of room here to work on stuff like this. You know, just, we might want to modify it later. We don't really know, but might as well try to keep it clean as possible right now. So whoops. So we'll go something like this for now. There we go. So if we call update mod stats, we're basically going to, in theory, in the future, update our mod stats. They will become the most relevant thing. And this would be useful because we'll basically, if the player, we set this up as a function. So in the future, if the player, for example, equips a new item, we easily can just call update mod stats, and it's going to go through and update all the mod stats. Okay. So in our event graph, let's find our begin play. I'm going to make a new event graph, and this one's going to be our functions event graph. We're going to call it custom event graph. This way we can keep all of our movement codes separate and not have to worry about that. We'll make our begin play event. And whenever the player comes into the world, we want them to update their mod stats. There we go. Simple as pie. What do we want to do next? Obviously, we're not doing anything with this stuff, but at least it's there. I'm thinking maybe we want to implement something. So maybe some form of a basic UI then. Maybe set up a, let's see about setting up a basic networked UI. How about that? So we can at least do something with this stuff. So the user interface is going to be in the HUD. So that's not an issue. The HUD class is going to be unique to each controller, each player, because that's the way the HUD class is designed. So that takes care of any network issues. But do we want to have... We'd have to have the character spawn the HUD. Because technically at some point, for whatever reason, if we happen to have an unpossessed character, we don't want a HUD displaying anything that's not valid. So that answers my question right there. Okay. So I'm going to have the controller control the HUD. No, I'm going to have I'm going to have whatever's relevant control the HUD. So the player is going to control its HUD. That's what I meant to say, and I failed miserably. So let's see about making our HUD. So, probably help if we had some form of a HUD. And this is technically part of the player. So I'm going to go ahead and do a user interface in here. And this will be the player HUD? Player UI? We'll call it player UI. Should be character UI. We'll call it character UI because technically this is the UI for the character. We'll call it what? Character UI. And, so here is, do we make this dynamic? So for example, this is going to be the character UI, and traditionally you're going to have something like information or a player panel. So it'll show like the player's health, the player's mana, and portrait if you wanted it, for example, things like that. You might have another panel for a target, for example. You would have a panel displaying any hotbar skills, and inventory would pop up and things like that. So I'm thinking the character UI should just be a dummy holder for stuff. And then we'll have everything else. Okay. I think I know what I'm going to do here. I think I'm going to do the player character sheet. I think that's what we're going to create today. So where's our UI section? Here we go. So we have the player UI. Technically, okay, so I just talked about some stuff, and obviously I missed them in here. So we have a hotbar UI, player UI. The player UI is going to consist of this is the, not player UI, so character sheet UI. We'll go with that. Hotbar, options. I know I mentioned something else, but I completely forgot. We should probably do a mini map because why not? Those are really easy to do with render targets. Do we have a backpack? You have an inventory, so we're good there. And then do we have the what is it called? It's called the player in the target window in Warcraft, but that really doesn't help defining what it is in terms of words. Oh, screw it. Player, hit point, mana, UI, target, point. Yeah, I don't know the right way of doing that. Oh, did I spell it mini-mip? Yeah, I did spell it mini-mip. Let's see, Jenko, I have 2 levels. One is a house, another is a garden. House has 3 doors. If my character opens a door, I need him spawn in a specific point in the garden, as behind the door. Okie doke. Yeah, that is not very difficult, Jenko. Let me pull up a rough example of a question someone asked. Basically, this would be like a Resident Evil style map system where a specific door is mapped to a specific location somewhere else, and you have things basically separated by rooms. I did this for somebody right here, so let's see about pulling up this example, and I'll cover the basics of how we did this. There is a, oh, actually, you know what? let me cover the basics, and then I'll give you the video as well. So let's find the video, and then I'll go cover the basics. My channel. Resident. Hopefully I put it in there somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Basic room-to-room map transfers. Okay. So we'll close this. Okay, so here is the video where we covered everything. Now I'll also cover the basics of what we did. So this is roughly something you're looking for right here. Going from one spot to another. So like in the bottom you can see map 2. And I don't have these things on debug, so that really doesn't help. Hold on a second. Oops. There we go. So now I can see my doors. So like we're in map 1 right here, and I go out this door, it shows me in map 3. We go out here, it shows me in map 6. Go into here, shows me back to map 3. So we have doors for entrances and exits and stuff like that. And you can see where they're coming in and coming out of. I have an error here because of the fact that I don't have the right game instance. So let me fix that for a second. This is one issue with having multiple projects in the same thing. So we come out of here and we can end up here. We come out of here. You see I'm by the door. We go out this door. I'm by the door. We can go over here. I'm in this map, in this door. We come back through here. I'm out here. So the basics of this is we set up a blueprint called our door. It's this little blueprint right here. And what we do, this is basically the code here that handles it. And what we're doing is we are storing the current level name. So what level they came from. So in your case, for example, if you're going from the house to the garden, you can store where they came from, the house or whatever. This is just because I'm going from a one map to another map in a unique spot. You could have this be something like, for example, this could just be a reference to this door. So door 1, door 2, door 3. This is just something you store in your game instance, because the game instance is always there for every single map. So you store something that says, hey, this is where I came from in your game instance. And then you open the map you're going to. Each door keeps track of which map we're going to. So for example, if I clicked on this door, I'm telling it to go to map 4. Or this door, for example, knows to go to map 2. So every door knows where it's going to. When the doors load up inside of our level, so our doors control everything. So for example, we're going to walk over this box. It's going to say, hey, we came from door 1, and it's going to open up the garden, for example. So now inside of our garden, we have our different spawn points. These little spawny dudes here, our little doors. They're each going to start up, and they're going to go, okay, well, I was told I'm connected to door 1. Did we come from door 1? It's grabbing that variable from our game instance. And if it doesn't, well, nothing happens. It doesn't care. It's not the right spawn point. But if it does match, it says, yeah, I'm where the spawn point is for this door that you came from. Then it simply goes, okay, it grabs the player and tells the player to move to wherever we told it to move to. In this case, that's this little arrow right here. That's why, for example, right here, I'm in map 1. I go out this door, and I spawn right here, right outside that door in map 3. If I come back from map 3 out of this door, I'll be right here in door 1. So that's the basics of this. The actual video I linked covers exactly how we did this, as well as all the blueprints. So that's something to keep in mind. So feel free to go ahead and watch that. That should help you out. That should cover what you're trying to do. I lost my project. Yeah, I found my project. Okay, so let's see. Let's make user interface. So this will be a character stats UI. Let's go ahead and delete that. We're going to make this a vertical panel. And then we are going to blah, 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 blah. What are we going to do? Let's put a overlay. No, border. Do you want a border? Yeah, let's do a border with a vertical. Yeah, let's, oh, for Pete's sake. Let's wrap the vertical box with a border. That way I can put like a transparent background in the back. Transparent background in the background. That's funny. But basically so I can have something in the background behind our stuff. Okay, cool. Let's just slap some text in there so we have some debug stuff. So we'll put a text box in there. And we'll put a little size. No, spacer. Where's my spacer at? There we go. Put a spacer. And then we'll put a text block. We're going to wrap our text block. Let's see. So we're going to, oh, son of a gun. Did I not, I never put experience in here. That probably would have been smart. Yeah, look at that. We never stored our player experience anywhere. Okay, so we're gonna need to store that. Okay, so let me go back to my character while we're in here, and that's gonna be a base stat. What would that be? Because technically your experience would, oh crap. The idea behind the base stats is these are the stats that the character's created with. We never want to modify them. These are the okay, so I guess technically experience would be its own thing. I will just keep it experience and not put it in their category. Okay, well, I've got experience now. So we're going to go with a player name. And then we're going to go with something like, okay, so let's start putting some text in here, because that would be helpful. Player name. And then we're going to go with like a level 7 cleric. And let's put a little spacer in here. 15. So we'll go with that. We're going to go with that. We'll put another spacer in here like that. Put some more text. Level 7 cleric. And then, I don't know, do we want to do a progress bar for the experience? Screw it. We'll just put a number. 100. Yeah, we'll just go with something like that. And I'm doing these brackets to indicate I'm going to be putting variables in there. So we'll go with that. And then we will do the player stats, I'm thinking, underneath that. So we'll do something like health 100, 100. We'll go with something like that. Okay, so let me health, mana. Okay, yeah, we'll go with something like that. So we can make it a little easier. Health, mana, and then this will be something like strength, and this will show the current strength value. Intelligence, which I don't know if I spelled that right. Yeah, I did. Okay, and stamina. We'll go with something like that. And I don't need these. We're just going to go with a flat value for those. Did I hit enter? I did not. Nope, still didn't hit enter. There you go. So do something really simple. We'll do something like this for our user interface. And the reason I put a border in here is I could do something like this and give ourselves a nice little background that I can play with. And then we could even throw stuff like, let's see, the border takes one child. So technically we could wrap the vertical box in something else, like another vertical box, and then put another thing on top of it called stats. But we're just going to go with this for now. I think that works, right? Basics, player name, level 7 cleric. I guess we could put EXP like that. 100 of 100. This font is, whoa, that is weird. I wonder why the colon's like that on this font. Well, we're not worried about it. EXP, health, mana. Yeah, okay. So that'll work for our basics for our player stats. So let's start making our variables variable. So this is going to be our player name text block. And this will be our level and class text block. This is going to be our EXP, EXP text block. See, this is one of those things where you have to decide whether or not it's smart to start abbreviating things. For example, I'm not abbreviating intelligence to int, but I was abbreviating experienced EXP, and that's not really consistent. So for consistency's sake, I'm going to go ahead and name everything their full qualified name. So that way, if someone's going down the road and they're like expecting experience text block, they're not going to be like, well, it's EXP text block, and then yell at the designer. And that would be me in this case for both things. Right. Text block. It's so funny how like 60% of programming is just back end data processing, getting stuff working before you even get to fun stuff. Okay, cool. So that'll work. Let's see. Can you help me with the gaze pointer for Gear VR? Ragul, I wish I could. Unfortunately, I don't have a Gear VR. I wish I could help you with that. I've done some basic stuff with the Vive, but it doesn't use gaze. I use the controllers for that. The only thing I can say is the VR template. So if you go to File, look, we go to our main thing, we do New Level, there is a VR... I didn't mean to click on it, but there's a VR basic level in here. And this is a basic demo. But if you... This is what I meant to do. If you launch the new... nothing new. If you launch the launcher, and I don't even know why I did this because I already had one loaded up. But if you launch the launcher, and you launch the launcher, there we go. And you go to new project, they have a virtual reality project. And if you notice, it has an HMD local motion map that lets players teleport using either a gamepad or point and click teleport using just the head mounted display. And it's also designed for things like the PlayStation VR. I think these ones will let you do the gaze. I don't know for sure though, but I would start with that. Try the VR template and see if that helps out. How do you add multiple colors in a single line of text? As far as I know, you're right. You're going to need something called rich text. And there we go. I don't think rich text is built in, right? No. Rich text is not built in. I know that there is a plugin on the forums to add in rich text. Other than that, you're looking at doing something like multiple variables. So for example, I'd break out these values over here into a variable and then just leave this left part as a static and not changed. Greybog, why do you not make only the values as variables without the text like health? I'm thinking of multi-language games. I'm doing this because we are not creating a multi-language game. We're not porting this out. We're not making a full product. We are treating this like a slice of a game. For example, you want to show an investor something. You're not going to spend 3 months making a basic demo of your game and then spend another 2 months translating and putting in your extra text for that game just to show a potential investor. A lot of the time, your vertical slice or your demo is actually not even included in your final product. It's just something used to show people your idea, and then you take that learning experience and that stuff and you put it into the full game itself, which is a completely separate product. So yes, if this was a proper thing, we would be putting these variables on the left as text and actually we'd be putting them as text, and then we'd be putting these as integer values, and then that way we could use the built-in localization system to change these things out. That is true, and that is what we would do. But right now we are not. Serpent line, where you use an SQL-like database to store and load the data. No, we are going to be using a MongoDB database, using Node.js, using Socket.io to connect to our actual game. So let's do some stupid functions, shall we? New function, update values, update display, update display. Yeah, we're gonna go with update display. Is what we're gonna do. Okay. So right now we're gonna make this really simple. So we're gonna sequence this out. I'm actually gonna do this I'm gonna do this a couple different ways. I know this is gonna seem really weird, but this is just the way I'm gonna do it. We're actually gonna have functions inside of functions to make things more compact, is what we're gonna do. Update name. And to do so, this is going to be a local, so we can get the player controller 0. This will give us our local player controller. Then we can get the controlled pawn. Shoot. So here's where we're going to run into an issue. No, this is not where we're going to run into an issue. Because we are designing this the way we're designing this, and we have our character as our base class, then we should be able to cast to the character every single time and not have an issue. If it does fail, we'll put in oh crap, you screwed something up. This should never happen, but why not? Oh crap, you screwed up. Okay, so as the character, we're going to get the name. Wait, what did we call that? So going back to our character, anyone notice we're missing something? We kind of forgot their name. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? The first thing, that's funny. So let's put their name in there. Oh, that's hilarious. So now that we have a variable we can get called name, we'll grab the name, then we'll grab the name text block, and we'll get it. We'll set the text on the name text block like this, and we'll go ahead and plug it in like that. Yeah, that's our basics. Now, this may, bye Alex, have a good rest of your day. This may seem silly. We're basically going to recreate this code right here for every single one of these variables. And then our sequence is going to go through and call each of these in step. Now, this may seem weird and silly. However, doing it this way, if we want to go back and alter anything, like for example, in the future we decide that our layout isn't right, or we need to add something else, we can easily add another variable in here or another section just by updating, by adding a new pin to our sequence and giving it its own function. So we can keep everything nice and compact. Plus, let's say, for example, right now we have this set up where our name is like this. Now, in the future, I don't know, whatever reason, the game adds in titles. So you'll see titles in games like Warcraft and EverQuest. We don't have to really take a lot of time and go back and change things or move things around physically, because the update name section is compact and separated. We just have to go in here and update just this one section and not update anything else. So it allows us to keep things better organized for the future and for portability. So that's why we're doing it like this. It may seem weird, but that's just the way we're doing it. I don't know about this though. This is, yeah, you know what? I'm going to kill this right here. And I'm going to do a begin play. Begin play. I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to stuff this into a variable. Because we are going to end up using this multiple times, we're going to need to get the MMO character itself. We're going to go ahead and keep it in a variable so that way we don't have to continually get cast. We do this once and then grab the variable rather than doing this 3 times every single time we need it. So this will be our character reference. We'll call it character ref. There we go. Now we can go back in here. We'll grab our character reference like that. Plug him in there. This gets a little bit shorter. And actually, in regards to this, now we don't need that "oh, you screwed up" part. We can go back into here. We can print this one out like this. We'll go "you screwed up. This is not a MMO character." And then this code right here, which is where we would call update display. So once we create this, we update our stats. This code will only run properly in here. And we could always do something like remove from parent, self. So what will happen here is rather than our user interface popping up with bad data, the user interface is going to make sure that it can display good data by making sure it can only talk to the proper character. And if it can't display good data, it's going to give us an error and then not display our actual widget. So our user may seem confused because hopefully this never happens. But if it ever does, they're not going to be really confused by seeing all this bad data. We're just going to simply have it fail gracefully, basically. So that works. That's a little bit better, I think. Cool. And then this gives us this. Okay, so now we can go here. We're going to steal this code. What was next? We have our, what did we call this? Level and class. So I'm trying to make a new function. I'm failing miserably. Update level and class. And in case anyone's wondering, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can use the and sign for functions. It's something that Unreal lets you do, and it will handle it in the back end. However, going back to kind of like we mentioned before about keeping, experience fully qualified, intelligence fully qualified, I feel it's better to have the entire word spelled out because it makes things cleaner, easier to read, and you don't have to wonder. If you always use and, then you always use and you don't have to worry about it not being right. And consistency is very important. So this is our level and our class. This is going to be our level and class text block. And this one is going to be a format text. Format text. And format text is such a nice node. So what did we want this to look like? Level 7 cleric. So we are going to make this level. And then we'll do num. Oops. Apparently I hit backspace and broke something. There we go. Level number. And then we'll do class. There we go. And then this nice little node just simply wants our level number in our class. And I think that's something else that I missed, apparently. So we don't have level number or class inside of our character. I'm missing a bunch of stuff. So level number, that would be helpful. And class. So here is a good question. Does the class... Do we define our class as an enum or do we define our class as a string? I'm going to define it as an enum because I feel like defining it as an enum, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to put that in our systems, and I'm going to find a blueprint enum, and this will be our class. Class is enum. Greebog, give me a second. Let me finish this up and I'll get right to you. And we're going to have a warrior. We're going to have a cleric. And we're going to have a mage. Do I want cleric or do I want shaman? We're going to go with warrior, cleric, and mage. That's what we're going to go with. Okay, cool. So that's that. Let's go back to our character. We're going to change this into our classes enum. Like that. There we go. Cool. Go back to our stats. Now we need to fill this in. So we did this before. We'll grab our character reference. And we're going to get the class. And then we're going to... We should be able to convert this, right? Into a string. Enum to string. There we go. Can I do enum to text? Well, let me do text. Just to make it easier. No, it will not. That'll give me the byte, not the actual value. Let me double check before I assume. Yeah, okay, cool. So this will give me... Seriously? What? What? Dude, am I gonna beat this thing up? Okay, well, let me get my level. Let me figure out what broke here. Why is the wildcard not taking a string? I've never had that happen before. Ah. Well, that's interesting. Never had a problem putting in a string into there. No, I guess I've never tried to put a string in before. Huh. Well, that's some... Oh, it needs to be... do I have... Seriously? It can take a text? Yeah, okay. So that may be what it was before. I've never tried to put a string before. This is stupid. I'm going to admit right now, this is ridiculously stupid. But if it works, I guess that counts. I don't like that at all. I guess I've never tried to put a string inside of a format text before. I always assumed it would work. Oh, I guess you learn something new every day. Okay, cool. So there's that. Let's test stuff, shall we? At this point, let's test some things. Let's go back into our graph. Let's go back into our update. Let's go back to here. This is update level and class. Like that. Okay. Gregory's question. When do I use name, string, or text? Okay, so the basic differences between name, string, and text. Literal name, literal text, and literal string. Okay. For the most part, the biggest difference is your string is going to be your generic holder for... I don't want to use the word text, but your ASCII stuff, you know, like if you want to have hello, this is your generic way of storing hello. And it's going to return back literally hello without any modification to it. If you did hello on a text, it's still going to return back hello, but it's going to return it back in a text format. And that text format, as you can see in here, there's some settings for localization, and it's going to give you keys and stuff like that. And you could basically replace this information localized. So you could create your localization package, and you could have hello be hola in Spanish, and it could be whatever it is in every other language. And you could do that automatically with text. If you did this, if you tried to do this with a string, you'd have to have a lookup table, like, you know, switch on string, not switch on string. You'd have to basically make your own lookup table and say if it's hello and language equals English, then output hello if blah, 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 blah. The text allows you to do the lookup table separately in a localization setup. Names are meant to be unspecific. So if I typed in hello and I did an equal to, and I did an equal to, and I did hello, or I did hello, both of these are going to return the same result. It's not going to care about capitalization and things like that. It's going to just simply return back if these values are the same. So hello, all lowercase, hello with a capital H, hello, all uppercase. These are all going to return back true in terms of a name. So these are useful if you just simply need to make sure values are the same. Not necessarily the exact wording or the exact capitalization structure, but make sure this is basically the same. So for example, if you wanted someone to type in yes to accept something, a name would make sense because, for example, they could type in yes in all lowercase or yes in all uppercase or whatever. All you care about is getting the Y, the E, and the S. So a name would make a good input for that. If you wanted, for example, someone to type their name in, then more than likely capitalization would matter, so string would be important. And then the text itself, again, is just for, it's primarily used for localization purposes. That's why all of your output in here is going to be in a text format, because it makes it for localization purposes. Your UI is more than likely going to be localized, whereas internal variables aren't going to be localized. So those are your biggest differences. You use whatever is appropriate for whatever you're trying to do. Half the time I randomly just pick whatever I feel like, to be honest. Yeah, names are more for internal use variables, not for printing. That is a very good way of putting it. Or, for example, having a comparison where you don't have to worry about it being exact. So let's say you wanted to have the person type in yes. Let them type in yes, convert it to a name, or actually technically you could do something like to upper, and then you could compare against, you know, you'd have to do something like this. If you wanted to make sure that they typed in, you know, yes, and you wanted to make sure you took every variant of yes, Y-E-S lowercase, Y-E-S uppercase, you know, Y-E-S like that, then you'd have to do something like a to upper and then an equal to that variant. If you converted it to a name, for example, a string to name, and then you compared it straight to like that, then it's not going to matter. This is going to be a true. So two results of getting the same thing. Internally, names are more likely to be used correct. That's a good way of thinking about it. Okay, so let's see if we can get some form of something working on our screen now at this point in time. Let's see our HUD. Our HUD is going to have an event at some point, but for now we're going to test by putting our widget on the screen. This HUD should only ever show up on the player's screen because of the fact that the HUD is only ever created locally. That is something that's very important to keep in mind here. That's one thing that's really nice about this. This is one reason why we went with the HUD class. If we were to create these widgets, for example, inside of the controller, we'd have to make sure it's only done locally. If we were to create it in the character, we'd have to make sure it's only done locally. Because keep in mind, there will be a version of the character on everyone's machines. So there'll be multiple versions of the characters, especially on the server. But if we do this in the HUD class, then we don't have to worry about that. So it's a nice way to do it. Okay. There we go. And custom event, and we're going to do show character stats UI. We'll call it window. I hear Final Fantasy. Create widget. We're going to do a valid check here. And we're going to, if it is not valid, we're going to construct a new widget. And this will be our character stats UI. And this is going to have to be a variable. So this will be our character stats UI. And then we're going to grab our character UI and add to child. We're going to need somewhere to put this. This is kind of where an issue comes in. Okay. So our character UI is just going to be a canvas panel. It's our screen. We're going to have exact positioning. Our stats UI, so for example, if I was to go into here and go to our user created stats UI, we're going to create it and we're going to put it in here somewhere. Now, by default, when I add it, it's going to add it basically probably somewhere like this. And it's not going to have like any of these variables set up. We'll have to set these up by hand. Not an issue. However, this is probably not where I'm going to want to display this. I'm going to probably want to display this in the middle or something like that. I can either create some anchors on my character UI and then spawn them in that location. I'm going to do that. You know what? Now that I talk about it, I think that's a smarter way for me to do this. So let's just create some generic anchors in here. So we are going to want a border. Border? Is a border a good one? Yeah, border's a good one. That'll work. We're going to anchor our border to the middle like this. Assuming it lets me. There we go. So here's our border. We're going to set the size to content. We're going to set its content opacity. Oh, no, we need that to be 0. Not the content. I want the appearance to be 0. There we go. That's what I meant to do. Screwed that one up way too many times. And this will be our character stats anchor. Like that. There we go. Now we can go back into our HUD, grab our character UI, get the anchor for our character stats, and then this is a border, and then we'll add a child, and we're going to add character stats UI, just like that. Pretty sure this will work right. I guess we'll find out in a second, won't we? This one right here goes here. So basically, whenever we call the character stats window, if we already have it open, we're going to go ahead and do nothing for now. If not, we're going to create one and then add it. So we're going to go ahead and add what do we call it? Show character stats UI. There we go. So I have no idea what's going to happen. Let's find out, shall we? This is the only problem with doing background work and not testing often, is you end up getting completely engrossed in what you're doing and you never actually know if it works. You never actually tested it. And to be honest, I should have tested this way before now, but I didn't. Okay, cool. But we have it working. Obviously, we have it working. That was kind of our goal, right? I can kind of move my character around. What I'm curious about now is dedicated server. Let's start up 2 of them, 2 people, and let's run them in the editor windows like this. Where's my other one? Why did it only start up 1? I did say 2. Oh, because I typed in 1 apparently. Well, that doesn't help. There we go. All right, cool. So we have 2 people that can run around, connected to a dedicated server. We have the appropriate amount of spawns from our spawning last time. And in theory, they have 2 user interfaces up. And there should only be 2 user interfaces. The server shouldn't have one. Each player should have their own. So we need some way of testing that right now. So how do we do that? Okay, actually, there's a really simple way of doing this. Right now, our character itself has their stats based on their base stats. Let's just simply throw in a get random, seriously, random integer in range. We're going to go from 5 to 25. And we're going to grab their strength. For now, this is just a test. And we're going to add a random number to it. And if this worked right. Oh, this really doesn't help considering I'm not even showing. We're good. We're good. We're basically going to do this, and then do this. There we go. So for testing purposes, we're going to give them their base strength and add a little bit of extra to it. Of course, if anyone's paying attention, they'll know that I never even set up my update strength node. But I did realize that... okay, good. Level 0 warrior. Cool. So that's defaulting properly. And they have no name. Okay, cool. So the actual variables are being set properly. Let's go back to our UI. Let's make a new function called update strength. Let's go back into here and steal this information. Wait. No, update strength is going to have to be something like this, right? Yeah. Okay. Grab this one. Put this in here like that. And this one's going to be, what do we got? We got strength, and then strength. Rawr, like that. And then this should be easy. We'll grab their strength. Oh, we're going to grab their mod strength. Plug it in here. Go back to our update display. Move these up a little bit. Call update strength. Like that. And let's see what happens, shall we? I see strength of 19. I see strength of 29. That looks good to me. That looks like we have two different numbers for two different characters on two different screens on two different machines. Oh, technically not two different machines, but two different characters. Okay. I think that to me personally, without doing some more testing, I think that does indicate that we have unique UI for each player. We're not just like showing the same UI. We are showing the UI that's unique to the player. Yeah. Now the name is technically not gone. The name is our default, which has no name. We have no name for our characters. So that's kind of an issue. So we're just going to put in Bob, the default explorer. We'll try that. There we go. Bob, the default explorer. We can also see strength 18 and strength 17. So we know our values are changing. Okay, so we're good. So let's just finish this out. I'm just going to quickly knock out the rest of these values. And these at least shouldn't be too hard. So let's duplicate update strength. So what do we have other than strength? We had strength, we have stamina, and we'll update stamina itself. This one will be our stamina block. And then we can name this stamina. We'll grab our mod stamina. And we'll plug it into stamina. Bam. And of course, it would probably help if we name this stamina. There we go. Update stamina should be good. What is our next one? Update intelligence. Update intelligence. I can, nope, can't swap that. So we'll grab our character. We'll get intelligence. Oh, nope. Get mod intelligence because we want the actual modified version. Like that. And then replace this with intelligence. Intelligence. And then intelligence. Bloop. All right. Okay. What else do we got? Experience, health, and mana. So I didn't do experience yet, right? No. So let's do duplicate, update experience. So this will be our experience block. And this one's going to say, we're going to keep this one as EXP because I can't, you know, I'm going to just do EXP because that looked really weird with the capitalized letter. Experience, grab our player's experience. This one's not a mod because this one's going to be a value that basically is or is not a number. Here's our experience. What else? What do we got? We got our name done. We got that done, that done. Health and mana is what we're missing now. So we'll grab this one, duplicate this, update health. Probably should not have chosen intelligence. It's the longest one to rename. Health. And this one is going to be interesting. So we have health, and then we have health max. So I'm actually going to change this from health to health current. And this is where we're going to have to figure something out. So inside my player character itself, we only have one value in here for, yeah. So we're going to have to rename these things. We're going to have to rename this from, from mod health to mod max health. Gosh darn it. Yeah. And then mod max mana. Yeah, there we go. And then, oh shoot, see? Okay, so here's where the conundrum I'm coming in here. I'm trying to keep things as organized as possible. The player's going to start off with a set number of health. They're going to enter the game, and let's say they have 100 health. Great. That is their base health. The player has 100 health. Now they get hurt. They take 10 damage. Now the player's current health is going to be 90. Now the player goes ahead and picks up a piece of armor. And let's say it gives them 10 health. Now we have a third health value of 110. So how do we properly name these things so they make sense? Now I have current health, I'm thinking, is the smartest way to keep track of the current value. But in terms of this one, I'm going to name these ones base because I'm thinking having them as base would be the smartest way to, even though I have them in the category base, if I name them as base, it'll at least keep them in my mind as smarter. Mod, I like these ones because that means they've been modified from the base values. But what do we call this value right here? Is mod max health a smart name for it? Also, current health should not be an enum. This is basically kind of where these questions come in. I guess that's right. Modified maximum health. So this is the maximum health for the character modified. So any modifiers apply to this. I guess it's the right way of naming it. Okay. I mean, just it sounds weird, but it seems like it's right. Okay, so we'll go with that. There we go. Okay. Sounds weird to me, but it doesn't mean it's not right. Okay, cool. So we'll grab our character. We'll get the mod max health. And this will be the health max. And then we'll get the current health. And we'll spell current right, hopefully. I'll plug that into health current. There we go. Okay. These ones need to be moved over a little. Okay, cool. And then we're going to duplicate this into update mana. Nuke these variables. This is going to be mana. And then this is going to be, come on, control button. There you go. Current mana. And this is going to be the mod max mana. Get mana. Get current mana. Check. Get mod max mana. Check. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections plus 1 that updates them all. So we'll just finish this off. And I'm going to go in order is what I'm going to do. So we have name, level and class, experience. Oh, it doesn't let me hook it up automatically. That's kind of rude. Name, level and class, experience, health, mana, strength, intelligence, stamina. Health, mana, strength. So let's see, we have health, mana, strength, intelligence, and stamina. Voila. And we'll hook these up like this. And there we go. Now we have our display thingy probably set right. The mana set text target is wrong. There's a chance of that. Let's find out. Oh, yep. Well, that would have been helpful to have properly done. Let's see. So that would be our mana text block. I wonder if I did that for the health test. Yep, look, health one's wrong too. That's one of those things where someone would have figured it out eventually, hopefully. Okay, cool. I think they're all good. Let's close everything but the event graph. Okay, cool. So I think we're good. Let's hit play. Cool. We already know that 100. Yeah, I think we're good. Strength is wrong. Obviously, right off the bat, we have an issue with strength. So, whoa. Also shows strength 24 at the top. I think someone made a mistake. Level in class. Update strength. Hey, look, level in class text block. That's probably not the right one. Strength. There we go. Okay, so let's try that one again. Okay, experience 0, health 0, 0, strength. Yeah, okay, cool. Those look good to me. I think those look good to me. I like that. Let's go back into our character and nuke this for now, so we don't screw something up later. Now our character should have a display of all the base values. Good, I like it. Let's actually make that a fully functionable option now. So we're going to go into our project settings. And we're going to go into our inputs. We're going to make a new action mapping. We are going to get rid of reset VR. We're going to call this one character sheet. And then I'm going to rename that to character window. And then I'm going to rename that to toggle character window. And then I really have no freaking clue what I want to call this. I'm going to call it toggle character window, because I feel like it. We're going to map that to C for character, because I want to. There we go. So that's toggle character window. Now, I'm thinking it would be... Now, this is my personal thoughts here. I'm thinking it would be smart to put that on the character itself, simply because we only ever want this showing if we have a character. We never want this valid if we don't have a character. So basically, if we put this on the controller, then it's going to allow... it might allow... I doubt it will, but it could possibly allow sometime in the future us to accidentally make a stupid mistake. And I don't like that. So this one, what do we call that? Toggle character window. Okay. So if they press toggle character window, then first of all, we want to... oh, what, darn it. Okay, first of all, I know what I'm looking for here, but it's just... It's giant pain. This is a giant pain in the butt every time I try to find it. Okay, get HUD, get player character 0. Okay. Can we please... No, seriously? Oh, controller. Dang it. What? Okay. Get player controller. Is this thing seriously not... Thank you. Okay. This is what I'm trying to do, and it's failing miserably here. Okay. Our HUD controls our UI, so not a problem there. What I'm trying to do is make sure that is locally controlled. That's what I've been trying to do, and it's not been cooperating. Is this character that's calling this locally controlled? We only want the character locally calling this. We don't want the server calling this. We don't want someone else calling this. We only want this called locally. That's what I was trying to do. Because the HUD should only pop up for the local player. It just wouldn't friggin' cooperate when I was doing that. There we go. Get our HUD. Cast this to our MMO HUD. There we go. This is what I was trying to do and failing miserably at, as you saw. Find our HUD. And we called that the show character stats window. So we'll go ahead and close this. And we're going to show character stats. There we go. Okay, so let's see what happens. We'll hit play, nothing, hit C. There we go. There's our player stats. Go over here, nothing, hit C. There's my player stats. That's what I was trying to do. Isn't the input event not always local? It should be. I mean, this is the case of sanity, I guess would be the right way of putting this. I highly doubt this would ever be called incorrectly. However, since I only ever want it called locally, I just simply double check. That's basically what it is. It's kind of like if you do this is something that you'll find here shortly we're going to be doing. If we have something like this where it's a custom event that's told to only run on the server, we still will put a stupid switch on authority. Has authority. We'll still do something like this just to double check it's only run on the server. I know it seems weird, but rather safe than sorry in networking, I think is the saying or mantra, the feeling. The feeling is basically rather safe than sorry. Okay, cool. Now this still doesn't work properly since we are basically not toggling. So let's change this from show character stats to toggle character stats. And this is the reason why we put this in here. So that's called toggle now. This is now called toggle. Then we'll go back over to here and we'll basically, if we already have it open, then we don't want it open anymore. So we'll grab this and we are going to remove from parent. So now we will no longer have our stats open. And then we will grab this again. And we're going, oh, not grab it again. We're going to set it to nothing. So now it becomes null. And now it becomes invalid for the next time we run this check. So now we should be able to play, hit C, and every time we hit C, our stats are going to toggle. And it's going to be, of course, unique to whatever we're doing. There we go. See, that works. We don't, of course, have a mouse showing, and we can't. But I mean, this is just getting something working. It doesn't seem like a lot. I mean, that's one thing that's kind of not annoying, but kind of a bummer over the last 2 days we've been doing this. I mean, we've put in like 4 hours of work at this point, and this is literally all we have to show for it, which kind of seems a little of a bummer. But considering a lot of this work has been putting in the back end and systems, it's not horrible. Yeah, I know it's a bummer. I agree. If anyone thinks it's a bummer, this is the reason why templates and starter kits and things like that sell so well on the marketplace and the asset store, because it gets rid of all the boring, monotonous stuff. You get right into playing with things and throwing in art and graphics and making an actual fun product. But this is the part I actually find fun. It's just, unfortunately, some other people might not find it fun. But I'm happy with that. You know, that's not bad. That's good, though. We actually have that. Shoot, I wish there was a way I could get some form of easy damage in place over the multiplayer setup. Because I want to see if the Okay, okay. So let's see. Bear with me. This may go off the rails a little bit here, but I want to actually make sure. You know how? Well, right, you may not, but this is our enemy spawning system. I want to see if there's a way to verify it is working properly on the server. So, like in this case, you can see our client. They can both see two enemies. But if this client was to kill one of them, will this client see the enemy destroyed? And then when it respawns, will they both see the respawn? I want to be able to test that. We had it in place before where we're using the cheat manager. However, that doesn't work properly over the network, so we can't do that. So let's make our own cheat manager. I think that's a good idea. Good idea. Let's grab our monster base. This is our, yep, so we're still good there. Let's make a custom event, and we'll call this kill monster. Why not? And this is just simply going to destroy ourselves. Yeah, I think we can do this. Destroy actor. There we go. Seriously, can't type destroy self. This thing needs to know what I'm thinking ahead of time. Cool. So if we call kill monster, we can destroy this. So inside of our character, we are going to have a button called K, because the K key is for kill. And this one, let's see, let's do a line trace by channel. And it's going to, yeah, this is going to be a debug event is what it's going to be. So let's see, get the player. Shoot, this isn't first person, so this makes it more of a pain in the butt. Let's just get the actor location. Whoops, actor location. And then, let's see, we're going to start where the actor's at, and then we're going to get controller, get controller rotation. No, get actor rotation. Oh, I need the stupid, I need the controller rotation. I don't need the rotation of the actor, because the actor's not going to rotate. Right? The actor doesn't rotate in with the character component, right? Where's my character? I guess he does technically. Yeah, okay. This is why I always run into a problem with this one. Well, it's the stupid controller. There is a controller rotation. Get control rotation. That's what I was trying to find. Get forward vector. And then multiply. This line trace math always just breaks my head. So, I mean, I'm lucky half the time if I can get this right the first couple times I try it. There we go. So this should give me the rotation, the forward vector, multiply by 1,000, add that to here. This should give me an endpoint. Let's put this on a tick and test it. Yeah, when it comes to math, this is just the brain just doesn't do it. Well, I saw something. Didn't I see something? Yeah, it's running. Beginning at my location. Seriously. Because no one else sees that, right? It's not just me. Oh, hold on a second. Oh my gosh, is it shooting down from his crotch? Oh, it is. It's hitting himself and stopping is what's happening. Oh shoot. It's no, I've got ignore self turned on. Why is it hitting himself and counting as? Oh, seriously? Ah. He should not be counting as himself the hit. No, he's still counting as hitting himself. Well, this is friggin' annoying. You've got to be kidding me. Why is it so hard to do something so simple? Should not be too hard, but nope, it's gonna be a pain in the butt. Oops. Let's see. Get the rotation. Okay. Yeah. See. So, yeah. This one is fine in terms of. It's not gonna come. Yeah. This shouldn't. See. This is. Oh, because I'm also not. Yeah. I always forget that one. There we go. Yeah, see, so this is fine. The problem is it's hitting me. Because the concept of ignore self apparently doesn't apply to the friggin' thing. Seriously. Seriously, just bear with me while I complain about this for a little bit. The line trace is firing out from the camera. It's going straight. It's going just like it should be. However, it is hitting my player, right? I mean, that's what it looks like. And this little checkbox does say ignore self, right? I'm not crazy here. I will. This is literally just me trying to. Oh, is it hitting the floor now? What the hell? Oh, no, it's not. Ooh. I am completely confused at this point. Huh. Actually, I'm curious. How is myself counting as a floor? No. Oh my god. Why is it hitting the... Okay, so... Hold on a second. Now I'm literally just super confused. What the... Why is the pawn visibility set to ignore? No, it's working. It's just... What the hell? Yeah, no, it's working, but why would the default for the pawn have its trace response visibility set to ignore? Which is not the default, obviously. Okay, apparently I changed that at some point and didn't realize. What the hell? Okay, it doesn't matter. For this example, it doesn't matter. That is just the weirdest thing. This doesn't matter. It's all good. Kill monster. Okay, it's all good. It's all good. It's weird, but it's all good. This is not this. Whoa, crap. Probably don't want this on the tick anymore. Okay. Because now I should be able to point at something, hit K, and destroy it. That's what I was trying to do. I don't expect this to work right properly, though, in multiplayer. No, it is working. It's working like I expected it to. Except for the fact that the trace channel was basically ignoring my monster. It's just weird that the default... Anyways, this is working. It's for testing purposes. I expect it not to work properly right now. That's what I was trying to test right here. Let's also do something while I'm here, because this is starting to get annoying. We don't have enough room to run it like this. So let's do 800 by 600 for these windows. There we go. Let's try that. And then there we go. Now at least I have a little bit more room to play with. So we have two characters in our world like that. Let's see what happens if we kill one of these things. I don't expect this to work properly. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the command gets fired off. And let's, when we call this, let's do print string. And then let's grab this right here. That, we can get rid of this. And anyways, the reason I don't expect this to work is we're trying to do something on the client and not the server. Okay, yeah. So we can target it, but the problem is we can't call these actual commands because we're not calling it on the server version. We're calling it on basically our local version. And it's not going to destroy itself. So what we need to do is, for testing purposes, we call kill monster. Kill monster is going to be a server event. Let's see if this is proper. I don't think this is going to work either. Yeah, friggin' networking, I swear. Yeah, see, that's not going to work either because we don't own this monster. The server owns the monster. So that's a good question there then. Obviously this is stuff we're trying to learn here, but how do you do damage over multiplayer, over networking? I stopped saying obviously, but the server is what controls what should and shouldn't do damage, and when damage is and isn't taken, does all the value changes and things like that. So the server gets told the information. So do we just give the information to the server and then the server handles it? So in this case, for example, this one's we call kill monster. Target is the monster base, replicated to the server if the owning client. We don't own this. We can't. Words. Yeah. So what do we do? Well, if anyone knows basic networking and has a good explanation of how we're properly supposed to be handling this, I would honestly love to know. We are talking to, so in this case, we're in the network right here. And we are talking to a creature, because you can see the creature in front of me. And you can see the clients are calling the message. So in this case, it's client 2, and this is client 1 calling the message. And it's supposed to be calling this right here, the kill monster on the server. String and server kill monster. However, I don't think it's going to get called because we don't have authority to call it, because we don't technically own any of this stuff. So I could do this stuff on the server, and then that would technically, yeah, okay, so... Okay, I see what so Greebog is saying, try to do the trace on the server. So would we basically... Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, okay, hold on. Kill on server. Okay, hold on a second. Is this what we're supposed to be doing? We execute this locally. This tells the server version of ourselves to call kill on server. Then the server version of our character does the line trace from wherever it's at, grabs whatever it hits. It would technically talk to whatever it hits, which it owns already because we're executing this on the server. We wouldn't need an execute on server in this case. And it would talk to the base. And then this one would be... technically shouldn't matter. Okay, let's see what happens here, shall we? Okay, so the server is calling character monster wolf. Okay, so the server is doing this. We get called. Oh, I deleted the friggin' event. That probably isn't helpful, is it? Oh my gosh. It doesn't help if we never actually called the event. Oh, networking. You are my favorite thing in the world. Okay. And the server called character kill monster wolf. Okay. I think that might have been. Okay. So we see 2 and 2. We'll grab the first one. We'll kill it. It disappeared. And then they should both reappear at the same time. Look at that. Okay. Okay, there. Oh, of course we have errors, but okay. So let's see what errors we have. So we have the wrong thing. Where'd my message log go? Why is my message log right there? Thank you. Okay, so we're trying to execute this event with no monster spawner. So the question here is, who is calling this? This event, okay, so let's test this. We're going to execute this once. We have 2 errors in here. My guess is each client is calling this. So let's call this once. This is our fun debugging. Okay, we get 1 error. Okay, so this was something I was kind of curious about. We have our monster spawner. So where is our monster spawner? I lost my monster spawner. We have our monster spawner. Remember I mentioned I had too many monsters spawning because we weren't only calling this on the server. Now that we're calling this spawning event only on the server, we're okay. Not really an issue. However, the actual monster spawner does technically exist on everyone's machine. Each client has a copy of it, and the server has a copy of it. So when this event is called, where did my events go? The kill monster event, and destroys the actor, this is called for each version of the actor. So the server says, yo, I'm getting destroyed. The server version calls this event. And each client, client 1 and client 2, calls these events as well. Now, technically, the client should never call these events because these things should only ever exist on, this should only ever be called on the server. So do we put a server check on here to only call us on the server, or do we change kill monster to only execute on the server? But note that, but even then, the destroy actor event is going to be replicated because the server kills it, and then it goes to the other one. So the event destroyed. Networking is a finicky beastie, isn't it? Well, let's do something like this. And let's see what happens if we do this. Just simply pop a has authority in there. I don't personally think this is the proper way of fixing this, but let's see what happens. Okay, we get no error. The problem's solved. I just don't think that's the right way of solving it. So in this case, if I was to kill this one, you'll see them both respawn like they're supposed to, and we get no errors. Because this event is technically called only on the server, not this event. Where'd my event go? This event. So, Greebog, yes, thank you for mentioning try to do the trace on the server. That was the proper path we needed. I definitely appreciate the help. Now, I mentioned that this doesn't seem like it's the right way to me simply because of the inexperience I have with networking. It may be the proper way, but again, it's just one of those things that just feels funny. The reason I kind of think it feels funny is the monster spawners themselves, I'm starting to think, should only ever be on the server, maybe? Does the client ever need to know about a monster spawner itself? It needs to know about the spawned monsters, so that's not really an issue. But does the client ever need to know about a monster spawner in general? And I'm starting to think, no, it doesn't. So I'm trying to think of a proper way of doing this. Because right now, when our level is created, we have a monster spawner in our map. And this monster... this map is replicated. Well, it's basically the same map that everyone's going to use because it's already created on the client side, the server/client side. I know the proper way of doing this, I think, but I don't know if it's going to matter. My thought process, I'm going to wrap this up basically with my thought process and maybe think about over the weekend if there's a right way of doing this. Feel free for anyone to pitch in any ideas. If we set up a so we have our monster spawner here, and our monster spawner consists of all of our code. It handles our monster spawning and respawning. The event for spawning the monster itself, so our actual spawning of the actor, is done on the server side and is replicated to the clients, and that's what we want. We want this actual event, and it works fine. But the rest of the code in here we don't care about. It's unnecessary for the client. So what I'm thinking is if we had a system in place where we simply defined spawners. See, even then it won't. Nah, screw it. This is fine. I got to think about it. I'm sick, so my brain's not firing on all cylinders. This does work to solve our problem. We can rethink about this later. The goal is to get stuff running. I mean, seriously. And I mean, it works. We have two different clients in here. I mean, come on. It is working technically at this point. If we had some form of combat in place and we destroyed a character, I mean, it's working. Our servers, our two clients can see the two different people and they can see stuff being destroyed at the proper time, that you can see things respawning on each client correctly. You can see movement. So, I mean, we're good. I mean, we are good. It even works, you know, dynamically, because our monster spawner, again, is set up dynamically where we have 2 spawnable monsters. I could set it to 3, hit play, and boom, it works like it's supposed to. Have him destroy 2, have him run over here, destroy 1, and we'll get 1, 2, and then we'll get another one respawn. So yeah, we're good. We actually have the basics in there. You could hit C. We get a little character window. Oh, there we go. There's a good way to see if and I'm going to do that tomorrow. We've been at 2 hours at this point. My voice is going out. I need to stop before I'm getting excited for playing around with stuff, and this causes me to never stop working. Okay, cool. I'm happy where we're at. I'm happy with the progress. We've actually accomplished something at a point where I think I should stop. So I'm going to go and wrap it up for today. In terms of looking at our stuff, we got a lot more numbers implemented today. We got like our actual player character set up. We were able to make sure our monster spawn points did work properly over the network. We were able to set up our basic character sheet UI, as well as making sure the HUD works properly on each character screen with unique data. So we were able to do that. So that works. I mean, we technically have a very basic networked multiplayer game running at this point in time. We have no persistency yet. I'm figuring Wednesday of next week, we'll work on persistency. We'll work on getting these things hooked up into the server on the back end. Because I'm thinking Monday, we should actually start working on making things that we care about persisting. So we'll somehow make it where I think we'll put the loot system in place Monday, a basic loot system, and we'll make it where I just remembered we don't have gold coins stored in here at all. We'll have to add that to our player. We'll make a basic coin system working properly. We have our kill button working properly over the network. We can probably identify which player called it, because technically where'd it go? I closed my code and I lost everything I was working on. Here we go. This character has a controller associated with it and is unique to the server, and it does the actual kill event. So the server knows who killed what. So we should be able to then update this local character, his gold account variable, for example, and give it more coins. I keep calling it gold, but I mean coins. So we should be able to assign some coin loot table to an enemy and kill it, have that gold stored locally, so then we can verify that we have character data being stored to the correct character. And then we can work on that Monday. And then Wednesday, we can work on getting that information put into the server and get it persistent. So we can actually shut down the server and the clients and have them load back up. And then we'll just have it really generic with a basic fixed login type system. So then that'll lead into working on a basic login system. Because once we have persistency, then we want to make uniqueness. So I think this is a good flow. I don't bring up Friday because Friday is actually going to be the game jam. Epic's game jam, they're going to Thursday. Technically, they're going to kick it off Thursday. So I will be game jamming Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as time permits. And I will be streaming the entire time for the game jam for whatever project I work on. But this is good. I'm happy with where we're going. I just remembered I need to release this. Good. I'm happy. I'm happy with where we're going. Good. So, on that note, before I lose my voice completely, I appreciate everyone hanging out. Hopefully, there was some information that some people learned. I'm happy with the progress we made today. Anyone who had questions, hopefully I was able to help them out. For anyone I couldn't, feel free to leave a comment maybe on this video when it goes up later or on the YouTube channel. This video will be stored on Beam and Twitch and on YouTube. It takes a couple hours to pop up on YouTube. You can contact me with you can contact me via the YouTube channel, or if you need to, my email address is in the About section on YouTube. Monday will be the next time I stream again. It'll be roughly 10 o'clock Pacific, so roughly 2 hours before now for anyone who wants to tune in. Feel free, like normal, ask any questions. I try to help out as best as I can, but I don't know everything, and I will never know anything. Never know anything, never know everything, but I'll do my best to try to help out as I can or find you someone who can. The stream is going to roughly go idle for about 30 seconds so I don't disappear. Everyone else have a good rest of their weekend, and I will see everybody on Monday.